to the Sharkscape. Now, today's movie is actually a brand new movie. Yes, a brand new movie, recently just released, and that is Deep Blue Sea 3. Yeah, 3. I thought some people were telling me that 3 was coming out. I thought it was a joke, but no, there's really a Deep Blue Sea 3. I saw the second one not too long ago. I just looked at it on my channel like a month or two ago, and now we got 3. Deep Blue Sea 3. Let's get right into it.
Yeah,
Deep
suck
Blue
it, Jeff.
Sea 3.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
The story of Deep Blue Sea 3 actually takes place after the second movie. See, at the end of the second movie, a couple of the super smart sharks actually escaped. They didn't really harp on it in the previous movie. In fact, I totally forgot until I saw this. But yeah, some of the sharks actually did escape, unlike the first movie. So the super smart sharks are out and about and seem to be stationed in this basically just raft of an island in the middle of the sea. Basically, there was a civilization on this large raft, but it seems that just about everyone's gone. And yes, this does look like the set for Planet of the Sharks. Anyway, we get to our cast of characters, which is a group of scientists and bloggers and this muscle dude. Basically, they are doing research and sharing their fish findings with the world online and are just kind of chilling on this island for the summer. Well, not an island, but raft thing. And they're just having a good time. Well, a giant ship shows up with some scientists, and it turns out our lead female actually knows one of them, and he says they're hunting the sharks because they're dangerous. And as you can guess, these are the sharks that went missing from the second movie and are crazy smart. And so it's up to our cast of characters to get rid of the sharks and these assholes from the boat. The story is actually decent to good. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the story as it was original, yet built off the previous 2 movies and did its own thing. The second movie was just trying to recreate like the original Deep Blue Sea, and don't get me wrong, that's a true classic. It really is. But the second movie just totally failed to have a real identity, as it literally just tried to build off the second one by just recreating it. They just had all the same beats. It was so similar. This third movie, no, it actually properly builds off it, and it has a story that's much better than the second movie, and above all else, it tries to do its own thing. The setting was interesting. The characters were not totally one-dimensional and awful. I mean, of course, there are some characters that are literally there to just die, but the other characters are actually decently developed, and I thought that the way the movie progresses was quite good. There are actually a few parts of the movie that I totally did not see coming, and neither did my friends watching. And if a shark movie could do something like that, like where even I don't expect it, like even I didn't expect it in a shark movie, then yeah, it's probably a decent plot twist and was a great plot twist for a shark movie. The story was actually just quite good and was maybe the most surprising part of the whole movie. It's definitely how you build a sequel to a classic like Deep Blue Sea rather than just trying to recreate the movie. Now let's get into what you want to hear about, which is the sharks. The sharks are actually really well done in the movie. Obviously, it is a bit more budget than, say, The Meg, but it still looks quite good, even for 2020. The sharks actually have really solid animation, and the way they move is just really natural and realistic looking. It looks really good, and they move around in a nice manner, and I never questioned the CGI at all, and the other effects that surrounded the sharks, such as water, splashes, blood, everything looked really solid here. It looks like there was an actual budget here. I have no complaints there. But what about the kills? Well, all the kills in this movie, are they as good as the originals? No, they aren't as good as the originals, but they're actually quite good, and they're certainly better than anything that second movie had. I thought just about all the kills in this movie were not only impactful, but were all actually decently well done as well. Every single one really meant something, and they were all different from each other. There's no generic kills here. There's no meaningless deaths here. Every single one meant something in the plot, and none of them were duplicated. A couple of them really come out of nowhere, and I didn't even expect them. So again, major props. If you can actually surprise me in a shark movie in this day and age, like, wow, pretty good. I guess the last part to mention for the sharks is the screen time, which was actually very good in the movie. The pacing as a whole was pretty good. There were a few minutes where I thought it might have gone on a bit too long, but then the sharks showed back up. They're actually in a lot of the movie, and not just like in the end. They're actually in a decent amount in the middle, and then of course they're in a bit at the beginning. It was really quite good. And I thought the pacing for a shark movie, I thought it was pretty excellent as a whole. There's no needless dialogue that goes on for like 15 minutes. It was at most like 5 or so minutes, which is how it should be. That's how the first movie was. And I won't spoil it, but I will say that some of the shark deaths in this movie, the way the sharks die, Yeah, they're actually really sick, and one of them I've never seen before in a shark movie, and it really impressed me. But everything surrounding the sharks was actually good. But what about the people? Was everything surrounding them good as well? The acting in the movie was actually quite good as well. Sure, it wasn't the greatest acting or even as good as the originals, but it was a large step up from the second movie and was actually just really solid. Everyone clearly tried, which is a huge plus, and it was not their first time acting. I thought everyone was actually good, and there was nobody where I was like, yeah, that's bad. Sure, a few lines of dialogue are kind of corny and just not amazing, but it wasn't like terrible or ultra generic. As a whole, it was actually good. I would say the main female character is actually one of the weaker characters though in terms of acting, but even she was still alright. I just don't have all that much to say because everyone was actually good. What an amazing concept. I feel like I actually just don't have a bunch to say about Deep Blue Sea 3 as a whole because the movie overall is actually really good. Yeah, against all odds, this is actually a good shark movie. I think the movie is way better than the second one, and it's a really solid movie on its own right. The pacing is good for the most part, the acting is alright, the sharks are great, and the story was actually unique and had a few plot twists that, again, I didn't even see coming. This was a really welcoming surprise. I honestly didn't really know what to expect of this movie, if it was going to be good or maybe even worse than the second one, but again, it was a welcome surprise and this is actually a good movie. There isn't too much to fault the movie with. If you like the original, this is totally up your alley. I think it's, again, way better than the second one. Sure, it's not as good as the original, but it's a lot better than it should be. I figured by the 20-year mark, Deep Blue Sea was ready to be milked and crap. But this is solid. This is a solid movie. With all that said, pretty obvious what this movie gets on the shark scale. It gets the really rare, especially now it's rare, 5 out of 5 and is a shark masterpiece. I recommend the movie to anyone who likes sharks and just kind of anyone in general, as it is a good movie for the most part and I had fun watching it. Alright guys, well, if there's a Deep Blue Sea 4, you guys can tell me in the comments because I'm not going to know. But thank you for the people who told me this movie exists. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Again, check the movie out. It's on Amazon and various other websites. So, I'll see you guys on the next Shark Scale. See ya.
Wow. Shit, that really just happened.